Hey, deep divers, make sure you smash that like button and, get ready for a deep dive so juicy it's practically dripping with intrigue.
Ooh.
We're talking about an explosive article from the Daily Beast
Okay.
that dropped just days before the election.
Wow.
Talk about an October surprise, right?
Yeah, the timing is certainly
It's called,
the suspect.
Epstein Showed Me Photos of Trump with Topless Young Women Sitting in His Lap, claims author.
Hmm.
And it's sending shockwaves through the 2024 race.
Right.
Now, you might be wondering who is making these claims.
Uh,
Well, it's none other than Michael Wolff,
oh, wow.
the author who shook things up with his bombshell book, Fire and Fury.
Right.
This time he says he saw photos of Donald Trump with topless young women at Jeffrey Epstein's Palm Beach mansion
Okay.
back in the late 90s.
Wow.
Some even sitting on Trump's lap.
And what's fascinating here is that Wolff goes into detail
Oh, wait, yeah.
describing one photo with a telltale stain that the girls were allegedly pointing at and laughing about.
Oh, my goodness.
He claims these photos were kept in Epstein's safe, the same ones seized by the FBI in 2019.
And that's where things get really interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because the contents of that safe have been shrouded in mystery.
Right.
Prosecutors have mentioned hundreds of photos of girls and young women. But we don't know the specifics.
Right.
Are these photos among them? Were they ever released?
It's a giant question mark hanging over this whole thing.
It really is.
This raises the issue of source credibility, of course.
Right.
Wolff has been criticized in the past for his reporting, with some questioning the accuracy of his claims in Fire and Fury.
Well, the Trump campaign is certainly capitalizing on that,
Oh, yeah.
calling Wolff a disgraced and failed journalist who's fabricating lies to sell books and meddle in the election. They maintain that Trump cut ties with Epstein as soon as the sex trafficking allegations surfaced.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Yes.
you can see how the timing of these allegations, just days before the election,
Yeah.
adds another layer of complexity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it gets even wilder.
Oh, really?
Wolff describes Epstein living in fear of Trump despite correctly predicting his victory in 2016.
Wow.
He claims Epstein believed Trump was capable of doing anything and had no scruples. Talk about a chilling thought.
It certainly paints a picture of a
Wow.
complex and potentially volatile relationship between the two men.
So we have these explosive allegations from a controversial figure,
Yeah.
a vehement denial from the Trump camp,
Right.
and a backdrop of unanswered questions surrounding Epstein's life and death.
Right.
This is shaping up to be one heck of a deep dive.
It really is.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button because you won't want to miss what comes next.
Yeah, definitely. You know what's particularly intriguing?
What's that?
It's the potential impact of these alleged photos.
Right.
Especially in the context of the upcoming election.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about photos potentially depicting the frontrunner for president of the United States, engaged in inappropriate behavior with young women.
I mean, if these photos are authentic
Right.
and were to become public, they could completely derail his campaign.
Yeah, the timing couldn't be more critical.
Right.
With just days to go before the election,
Yeah.
this could sway undecided voters or even deter some Trump supporters. And, remember, the allegations against Epstein were already a source of controversy for Trump.
Yeah.
If these photos exist, it would be a major blow.
It was like a political earthquake.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the media frenzy if these photos surfaced?
Oh, my gosh.
The headlines practically write themselves.
Right.
Epstein photos show Trump with underage girls.
Yeah.
Scandal rocks Trump campaign. Election and chaos.
It would be huge.
It would be huge.
And it's not just the media we need to consider.
Right.
Think about the potential legal ramifications.
Oh, wow.
If the photos depict underage girls, it could lead to renewed investigations,
Yeah.
potential charges, and even calls for impeachment if Trump were to win the election.
And let's not forget the social and cultural impact.
Right.
This would further divide an already polarized nation.
Totally.
Trump supporters might dismiss it as a conspiracy, while his opponents would likely see it as confirmation of their worst fears.
It's a Pandora's box.
Yeah.
The release of these photos would unleash a torrent of reactions and repercussions,
Right.
with unpredictable consequences for Trump, his campaign, and the country as a whole.
So we've got these potentially explosive photos,
Yeah.
a heated denial from the Trump campaign,
Right.
and a whole lot of unanswered questions surrounding Epstein's life and death.
Absolutely.
It's a lot to unpack.
The biggest question remains.
Yeah, what's that?
Do these photos exist? If so, will they ever see the light of day?
It's a mystery that has the potential to rewrite history.
It really does.
Speaking of mysteries,
Okay.
let's circle back to Epstein's death for a moment.
Okay.
Wolff expresses serious doubts about the official ruling of suicide. He points to the implausibility of Epstein breaking his own neck in jail.
And while he acknowledges that the alternative murder
Right.
is equally implausible,
Yeah.
it's hard to ignore the fact that someone with so much dirt on powerful people died under such suspicious circumstances.
They're like something straight out of a spy thriller.
I know.
Did someone silence Epstein to protect themselves and others?
Right.
Or was it truly a suicide? A desperate act by a man facing the consequences of his actions.
It's a question that continues to haunt this entire saga.
Right.
The circumstances surrounding Epstein's death remain unclear, fueling speculation and conspiracy theories.
And the lack of transparency from authorities only adds to the mystery.
It's important to remember that the FBI investigation into Epstein's alleged co-conspirators is ongoing.
Okay.
Perhaps in time, more information will come to light, shedding light on both Epstein's death and the truth behind these alleged photos.
Until then, we're left with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
This deep dive has taken us through a labyrinth of allegations, denials, and unanswered questions.
Right.
We've seen how a single article can ignite a firestorm of controversy, especially in the heat of an election.
It's a reminder of the power of information, the importance of critical thinking,
Right.
and the need to be discerning consumers of news, especially when it comes to sensational stories like this one.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you, our listeners?
Right.
Why should you care about this tangled web of allegations and mysteries?
Well, I think this deep dive really brings to light the importance of media literacy and critical thinking, especially during a heated election like this one.
Right.
We're constantly bombarded with information from all sides.
Yeah.
And it's crucial to be able to, sift through the noise and figure out what's credible.
Exactly. Don't just believe everything you read or hear.
Right.
Think about the source, their motivations, their track record.
Yeah, their biases.
Right. Look for evidence, corroboration, and different perspectives. And remember, there's a big difference between reporting facts and expressing opinions.
This story also highlights the power dynamics at play.
Okay.
Particularly when we're dealing with allegations of sexual misconduct.
Right.
It raises questions about whether powerful individuals can evade accountability.
It's unsettling to think that Epstein, despite his well-documented crimes, was able to move in elite circles and amass wealth and influence. It makes you wonder who knew what and when.
And the lack of transparency surrounding his death only fuels suspicion and mistrust.
We've explored a dark and twisted tale of wealth, power, and alleged abuse.
We really have.
It's a story that's still unfolding with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
But it's a story that demands our attention, our critical thinking, and our unwavering pursuit of truth.
I think as we head into this pivotal election, it's important to remember to stay informed, engage in thoughtful discussions, and hold those in power accountable. And maybe, just maybe, the truth about these alleged photos and the mysteries surrounding Jeffrey Epstein will eventually come to light.
So, deep divers, that concludes our deep dives into this explosive story.
Wow.
What are your thoughts? What stood out to you?
Right.
Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the most fascinating and thought-provoking stories out there.
Absolutely.
Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and keep diving deep.